Incense, damp earth-filled night. Karagwe elders, burdened by history. Wind whispers, ancestors' voices. And in the center of them all, seated like a lioness surveying her domain, was Nyabinghi, the warrior queen whose name struck fear into the hearts of tyrants. Mother, what must we do? The question came from an elder whose hands had once been steady with power, but now trembled under the oppression of foreign rule. Nyabinghi lifted her chin, her dark eyes reflecting the firelight. "The land is sick," she said, her voice rich like the rolling thunder of an approaching storm. "The rivers run red with the blood of our people. Justice. Ancestors call, brave hands rise." A hush fell over the gathering. The name Nyabinghi was more than just a name, it was a force, a storm, a fire that refused to be extinguished. For years, she had led warriors into battle, wielding her spear with the precision of a hunting falcon. She was no mere woman, she was the living spirit of rebellion. But her legend did not begin with war. It began with betrayal. Nyabinghi was born under a sky heavy with prophecy. The old seers whispered that she was destined to rule, but as she grew, the world around her grew darker. A powerful warlord, Kahigi, saw her rise as a threat to his dominion and sought to silence her before she could challenge his reign. With silver-tongued lies, he spread rumors that she practiced dark magic, that her power came from spirits no mortal should command. The people, torn between their love for Nyabinghi and their fear of the warlord's wrath, hesitated. And in that hesitation, Kahigi struck. One night, under the guise of peace, he invited Nyabinghi to a feast in her honor. But the food was laced with poison, and the warriors who swore to protect her turned their blades against her. They thought they had killed her, but legends are not so easily buried. Days later, as the people mourned, strange things began to happen. The very soil where Nyabinghi's blood had been spilled refused to bear crops. The rivers near her burial site roared like lions, and those who had betrayed her found themselves cursed. Visions of the warrior queen haunted their sleep, and illness consumed them. The people whispered among themselves. Nyabinghi was not gone. She had become something greater. She had become a spirit of vengeance. Women across the land, possessed by her fiery essence, began to rise. They spoke in her voice, fought with her strength. When oppressors came, they found themselves driven back not by swords, but by an unbreakable will. Farmers, mothers, even the smallest children. Nyabinghi's spirit flowed through them all. The invaders who had once thought themselves untouchable now trembled before a kingdom where every heart beat with her fire. And Kahigi? The man who had betrayed her? He did not escape judgment. One night, as he sat in his palace, a great storm rose from the east. With it came the sound of hooves, the echo of war cries, the very wind itself howling her name, Nyabinghi. The warlord fled into the darkness, but there was nowhere to hide. No matter where he ran, the spirit followed. And when his body was found, lifeless, the people knew the truth. Nyabinghi had delivered her final judgment. Generations passed, but the legend never faded. Warriors carried her name into battle. Women whispered her story to their daughters, passing down not just a tale, but a fiery spirit of resistance that could never be chained. But the story does not end there. As the years passed, foreign invaders sought to erase the spirit of the land, believing that time would weaken the will of the people. Yet, each time they sought to claim Karagwe, they faced a resistance that defied logic. The warriors of Nyabinghi, now countless in number, rose from the shadows like spirits of old. Their battle cries echoed through the mountains, their strength unmatched. A young girl named Kamaria was among them. Born of the same bloodline as Nyabinghi, she had been raised on the tales of the great queen. One night, in a dream, she saw the spirit of Nyabinghi herself. "You are the next," the queen whispered. "The fire must never die. The fight is not over." Kamaria awoke with a start, her heart pounding like the sacred drums of war. The spirit had chosen her. She knew then that her destiny was to rise as Nyabinghi once did, to lead her people in an age where tyranny still sought to enslave them. With her warriors at her side, she carried the sacred spear of her ancestor into battle, and once again, the name of Nyabinghi struck terror into those who sought to oppress the land. The spirit had returned, but her journey was far from over. Kamaria's battles led her beyond Karagwe, into lands where others suffered under foreign rule. The name Nyabinghi began to spread like wildfire, from village to village, kingdom to kingdom. Some feared her, others saw her as a savior. With each battle fought, Kamaria felt Nyabinghi's spirit grow stronger within her. One night, as she sat by the fire, an old woman approached her. "The fight is not just for your people," she said. "There are others, across the seas, who cry out for freedom. Will you answer their call?" Kamaria knew what she had to do. Gathering her warriors, she set sail, carrying Nyabinghi's spirit into new lands where injustice reigned. From the shores of distant kingdoms to the very heart of the oppressor's empire, the fight for freedom raged on. And as long as there was a single voice left to call her name, Nyabinghi would never be forgotten. Today, the spirit of Nyabinghi is still alive. It lives in the hearts of those who fight for freedom, those who resist oppression, and those who refuse to be silenced. The world may change, but the fire of rebellion will never be extinguished. Whenever injustice rises, listen closely. In the wind, in the thunder, in the voices of those who will not kneel, her name can still be heard. Nyabinghi. She is not just a story. She is a force. She is forever. If you were inspired by this legendary tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let the world hear the story of Queen Nyabinghi, the warrior spirit that never dies. Spread the fire and keep the legend alive.